The rain hammered against the towering glass walls of the Caldwell Empire headquarters, turning the city skyline into a blur of trembling lights. Inside the top-floor office, billionaire Alex Caldwell stood motionless, staring at the flashing message on his phone. His heartbeat felt louder than the storm outside, his palms were cold, his breath shallow. "We have your daughter. Do not call the police." 8 words. 8 words that shattered the life of a man who thought he had control over everything: business, power, destiny. But tonight, destiny fought back. Alex's 16-year-old daughter, Lila Caldwell, wasn't just his only child. She was the last living piece of her late mother, Claire, whose death had carved a permanent wound in his chest. Lila was bright, rebellious, kind-hearted, and far too trusting for her own good. Alex had always feared the world would hurt her. He had never imagined it would happen like this. Minutes earlier, everything had been normal. Lila's school driver had arrived at the mansion to pick her up for her weekend robotics competition. Security cameras showed her stepping outside with her backpack, waving goodbye to the maid. Then, the footage froze. A van pulled into the driveway. 2 masked figures stepped out, and Lila disappeared, just like that. Alex played the footage on loop, his jaw tight, anger burning through his veins. "How the hell did this happen?" he muttered, pacing the office floor as thunder cracked across the sky. His security chief, Marcus, stood stiffly nearby. "Sir?" The license plate was fake. The van disappeared from traffic cameras 7 minutes later. 7 minutes. That was all it took to erase a billionaire's daughter from the map. Alex slammed his fist onto the desk, the impact rattling the glass. He wasn't a man who begged. He wasn't a man who feared. But tonight, he felt powerless. Another message buzzed on his phone. "Follow instructions, or she dies." His throat tightened. He wanted to scream. He wanted to break everything. Instead, he sank slowly into his leather chair, his hands shaking as he replayed the moment he last saw his daughter that morning. She had rushed into his office, wearing her oversized hoodie, hair in a messy bun, holding a stack of robotics designs she was proud of. "Dad, I finally got it. The drone algorithm actually works." He had nodded absently, still typing an email. He didn't look up. He didn't hug her. He didn't say he was proud. Now, guilt wrapped around him like chains. Marcus cleared his throat gently. "Sir, whoever took her knows your routines, your schedule, your security patterns. This wasn't random." Alex lifted his eyes, cold, focused, deadly. "So you're telling me," he said slowly, "that the person who took my daughter is someone close?" Marcus swallowed. "It looks like an inside job." Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the office in a stark, white glow. It felt like the world was warning him. This was only the beginning. Alex stood sharply. "Prepare the database. I want every single employee, contractor, driver, security guard reviewed. Anyone whose loyalty we can't guarantee, interrogate them." "Yes, sir?" But deep inside his chest, another fear crept in, one he didn't want to voice. What if the kidnapper wasn't a stranger? What if it was someone from his past? Someone with a grudge? Someone who knew exactly how to destroy him? Not through money, not through power, but through the only person he loved. As he stared again at the threatening message, his phone vibrated with a third text. "If you want to see your daughter alive, come alone." Alex felt the ground disappear beneath him. He knew this voice. He knew this tone. He knew who it sounded like. And if he was right, the truth behind this kidnapping would be more shocking than anything he could imagine. The storm outside only grew fiercer as Alex Caldwell stood in the center of his office, gripping the phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. The third message kept replaying in his head. "If you want to see your daughter alive, come alone. Alone." A word that sounded like a threat, a warning, and a cruel reminder of his own choices. For years, Alex had built an empire by trusting no one, not family, not partners, not even his closest employees. He believed isolation protected him, but now, standing in his silent penthouse office, he realized how painfully alone he actually was. Marcus stepped forward cautiously. "Sir, we can track the signal. Whoever texted—" Alex raised a hand sharply. "No. If they see any police or tracing attempts, Lila is the one who pays." Marcus hesitated, jaw tightening. He had served the Caldwell family for over 15 years, ever since Claire was alive. He had watched Lila grow from a giggling toddler into a brilliant teenager. His voice cracked despite his discipline. "Sir, if anything happens to her—" Alex cut him off, voice low, dangerous. "Nothing will happen to her. I won't allow it." But deep inside, fear crawled through his bones. Fear not of the kidnappers, not of the threats, but of failing Lila the same way he had failed Claire. Lightning struck again, illuminating the office with a ghostly flash. For a moment Alex saw his reflection in the glass wall. A powerful man, a feared businessman, a billionaire, but also a father drowning in guilt. Just then the elevator dinged, a soft, hesitant chime that didn't belong in a night filled with thunder and terror. Alex stiffened. Marcus reached for his gun. The elevator doors slid open, slowly, almost dramatically, revealing a woman in her mid-40s with wet hair plastered to her face and fear etched into every line. It was Helena Brooks, Alex's former business partner, the last person he expected or wanted to see, especially tonight. She stumbled, inside breathless, clutching a folder soaked by the rain. "Alex," she gasped, "I came as soon as I heard—" Alex's eyes narrowed. "Heard what, Helena?" Helena swallowed hard, wiping her trembling hands on her coat. "I got a call. Someone told me Lila was taken." Marcus's face changed instantly. "How would you know that? Only 4 people in this building are aware—" But Alex raised a hand again, eyes locked on Helena's. Her arrival wasn't a coincidence. He could see it in her trembling lips, the way her eyes kept darting to the floor. She knew something, maybe too much. Alex stepped closer, his voice dangerously calm. "Helena, who contacted you? Tell me everything." Helena opened the folder with shaking fingers. Inside was a printed photo, a photo that made Alex feel like ice was poured down his spine. Lila, in the van, hands tied, eyes wide with fear, a strip of duct tape over her mouth, a man's shadow towering over her. Marcus cursed under his breath. "Where the hell did you get this?" Helena looked up, tears shining in her eyes. "Alex, you need to listen to me. This isn't about money. This is about revenge. And the person who took your daughter," her voice cracked, "he's someone we both know." Alex's heartbeat slammed against his ribs. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Who?" Helena hesitated, but only for a moment. Then she whispered a name Alex had avoided for a decade. Samuel Grayson. The room fell silent. Even the storm seemed to pause. Samuel Grayson, a name Alex had buried deep, a ghost from his dark past, a man he once trusted like a brother, a man whose life Alex had destroyed, unintentionally but completely. Marcus looked shocked. "He's alive, I thought—" Alex's jaw tightened. He remembered the night that changed everything, the night Samuel's company collapsed because of a deal Alex made, the night Samuel lost everything, his home, his wife, his dignity. Samuel disappeared after that. Rumors said he overdosed. Others said he vanished overseas. But none of those rumors suggested he had returned, and none had suggested he would ever target Lila. Alex's hands shook with rage and guilt. If Samuel had taken Lila, this wasn't a kidnapping. This was personal. Helena's voice trembled as she continued. "He said you took everything from him, and now he's taking everything from you." A chilling realization spread through Alex's chest. This wasn't revenge for business. This was revenge for betrayal. Suddenly, Alex's phone lit up again. A new message. "Midnight, Willow Creek Bridge. Come alone. or she dies. Alex felt everything inside him freeze. Willow Creek Bridge, a place from his youth, a place connected to Samuel, a place tied to memories Alex had spent years trying to erase. He looked out the window. Rain, lightning, darkness. But none of it scared him. Only one thing terrified him. What Samuel planned to do to his daughter. And Alex knew he had no choice. He had to face the man he once called a friend, even if it meant walking straight into a trap. The rain hammered relentlessly against the windshield as Alex's car sped through the winding roads that led out of the city. Midnight approached with a cold, merciless stillness. The world beyond the glass blurred into streaks of darkness and light. But Alex didn't see any of it. His mind was trapped somewhere between memory and fear, between the past he destroyed and the future he was terrified to lose. Willow Creek Bridge. Those words played over and over in his head like a curse. It wasn't just a place. It was the graveyard of his friendship with Samuel Grayson, a silent witness to promises made and broken, a bridge where two ambitious boys once dreamed of changing the world before their paths diverged into success and ruin. Marcus sat in the passenger seat gripping the dashboard with white knuckles. He had argued fiercely against Alex going alone, but Alex refused to listen. "Sir, at least let me bring backup. This is madness," Marcus said, voice tight with frustration. Alex kept his eyes on the road. No police, no security. If Samuel sees we're not alone, he'll hurt her. Marcus swallowed hard. "Then let me come with you. I won't interfere. I'll stay out of sight." Alex finally met his gaze. "Marcus, if something happens to me, you're the only one left to protect Lila." Marcus's chest tightened with emotion, but he nodded silently. He understood. This wasn't just a kidnapping. This was Alex walking into the jaws of a ghost from his past. The car slowed as they approached the bridge, an old moss-covered structure stretching over dark, rushing water. The night was dead silent, except for the distant rumble of thunder. A thick fog rolled across the road, swallowing the edges of the forest on either side. It looked like the world was holding its breath. Alex stepped out of the car, rain immediately soaking through his coat. Every step toward the bridge felt heavier than the last, as if the weight of years of regret was dragging him down. He reached the center of the bridge, the same spot where he and Samuel once carved their initials into the wooden railing. It was still there, faded, weathered, but unmistakable. A painful reminder of a friendship that died long before either of them realized it. A sharp snap echoed through the air. Alex froze. From the shadows at the far end of the bridge, a figure emerged slowly, tall, drenched in rain, face hidden beneath a hood. Samuel Grayson. Alex's stomach twisted. The man who stepped forward was nothing like the Samuel he remembered, the bright-eyed, relentless dreamer. This Samuel looked like he had walked through hell and never found his way back. His beard was unkempt, his cheeks hollow, his posture tense and rigid. But his eyes, burning, furious, broken, were the same. "Samuel," Alex whispered. Samuel laughed, a bitter, unsettling sound that cut through the night like a blade. "Alexander Caldwell," he said slowly, emphasizing each syllable like a curse. "The golden boy, the billionaire, the man who destroys lives with signatures and smiles." Alex held up his hands. "I didn't come to fight you. I came for my daughter." Samuel stepped closer, water dripping from his jacket. "Oh, you'll see your daughter. Don't worry, I'm not a monster, Alex. I'm just giving you a taste of the life you gave me." Alex swallowed tightly. "Where is she?" Samuel smirked and pulled a small remote from his pocket. He clicked a button. A van parked in the darkness turned on its interior light. Alex's heart plummeted. Inside, tied to a chair, blindfolded, trembling, was Lila. Her cry pierced through the rain, muffled by tape. Alex instinctively lunged forward, but Samuel lifted a gun. "Move again," Samuel hissed, "and I swear I will end this right now." Alex froze, breathing hard, rage swirling inside him like a storm. "Samuel," Alex said quietly, forcing calm into his voice, "whatever happened between us, whatever pain I caused you, don't punish her for my sins." Samuel's hands trembled around the gun. "Oh, spare me your Father of the Year act, Alex. You think being rich gives you the right to rewrite history?" He took a step closer, eyes gleaming with madness. "You stole everything from me, my company, my reputation, my life, and now you get to play hero?" Alex shook his head, voice cracking. "I didn't steal anything. Your company collapsed because your investors pulled out after your CFO committed fraud." Samuel let out a low, violent exhale. "Because you warned them. You told them to step back. You destroyed the only thing I had left." Alex clenched his fists. "That was to protect them, not to hurt you." Samuel stepped even closer, until the barrel of the gun nearly touched Alex's chest. "You chose them over me, your precious investors over your oldest friend." The rain pounded harder, drowning out everything but their voices. "You think I disappeared because of the scandal?" Samuel continued, voice cracking with bitterness. "No, Alex. I disappeared because I had nothing left. My wife walked out. My home got sold. My name became a joke." His voice softened, almost dangerously calm. "And every night for the last 10 years, I prayed for one thing, not money, not success, not revenge." Alex's breath caught. Samuel leaned in, whispering directly into his ear, "I prayed that one day you would feel the same pain." The silence that followed was suffocating. Alex felt something inside him break, not from fear, but from the crushing truth that his neglect had cost someone their life's purpose. But then Samuel took a step back, a slow, trembling step, and said words that paralyzed Alex. "You have 1 hour, Alex, 1 hour to confess everything you did, publicly, to the world." Alex's heart pounded. "What? The corruption, the deals, the betrayals, every dirty secret you've buried? You confess it all, or Lila dies." Alex stared at him, stunned. Samuel wasn't after money. He wasn't after power. He wanted destruction. He wanted Alex ruined, piece by piece. "I'll send you the live stream link," Samuel said coldly. "You have until 1 a.m. He pointed the gun toward Lila. "And trust me, I'm ready to pull the trigger." Alex felt the icy grip of fear squeeze his chest as Samuel's words echoed in the stormy night. The gun pressed against Lila's temple was no longer just a threat. It was a countdown. 1 hour, 60 minutes to save his daughter, and in the process, confront a lifetime of choices, betrayals, and regrets. The rain soaked through his coat, but he barely felt it. Time was the only thing that mattered, and it was slipping like sand through his fingers. He moved slowly, deliberately, trying to buy himself a few seconds. "Samuel, please listen to me. You're punishing me for something that isn't entirely my fault," Alex said, voice low but steady. His eyes never left Samuel, who seemed to grow taller in the shadows, a specter of resentment and rage. Samuel's face twisted with a cruel satisfaction. "Isn't it? You were the golden boy, Alex, always perfect. Everyone loved you. And I was left to rot in your shadow. Everything I built, everything I dreamed, you destroyed it." Alex's mind raced. He had no time to argue morality, no time to explain past actions. He had to find a solution, and fast. His gaze shifted toward the van where Lila was trapped. Panic welled up, but he clenched his jaw, forcing himself to think clearly. He pulled out his phone, frantically searching for any way to track the van's location, his fingers trembling. Samuel noticed the movement and sneered. "Planning to run? Don't even think about it. The bridge is the only exit. You go any further, she dies." Alex froze. He had to negotiate, had to buy time. "Samuel, I'll do it. I'll confess everything. Just give me proof that Lila is safe while I do it." Samuel laughed, low and chilling. "Proof? You think I'm stupid? This isn't a game, Alex. I've watched you rise, thinking you were untouchable. Now I control everything. You'll confess, and only then will she breathe freely." The clock was ticking. Every second felt like an eternity. Alex's mind spun through possibilities. Calling the police would alert Samuel to Lila's exact location. Trying to fight Samuel now was suicide, and yet doing nothing was unthinkable. He had to use Samuel's rage against him, turn the anger into leverage. Then it hit him. Years ago, Samuel had been obsessed with one thing: his legacy. He had kept detailed journals, financial records, and personal confessions, evidence that could ruin Alex if exposed. But those records— Alex had once hidden them, fearing what Samuel could do if desperate. If he could access those journals now, he might find a clue to Samuel's patterns, something that would save Lila. "Samuel," Alex said carefully, "you know I'll do it, but we need a witness, someone to make sure no one lies about the confession. You'll agree, won't you? You've always hated lies." Samuel's eyes narrowed. "A witness? Maybe, but it has to be someone you trust. And you don't trust anyone but yourself." Alex's heart pounded. He needed a distraction, something to manipulate Samuel's ego. "You want justice, Samuel, right? You want everyone to know the truth, not just me. I can live stream it. Your voice, your reasoning, your demands. Everyone will see how careful, meticulous, and fair you are." Samuel's gaze flickered, a hint of curiosity replacing the rage. "Fair?" "Yes, fair. You're not just some villain, Samuel. You're smart, principled, brilliant. Let me help you show the world that." A tense silence fell. The rain poured harder, drumming on the bridge like a ticking clock. Samuel studied Alex, considering, calculating. Finally, he nodded once, slowly. "All right, live stream. But one false move, and she's gone." Alex exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. A plan was forming, not just to save Lila, but to expose the depth of Samuel's pain to the world, to confront the past and perhaps, just perhaps, bring closure to both of them. He retrieved his laptop from the car, heart hammering. Every click, every setup was a gamble. Samuel watched like a hawk, gun steady, eyes unblinking. The van with Lila was visible through the camera feed. She was terrified, shaking, but alive. Alex started speaking into the camera, narrating the truth Samuel demanded, carefully, cautiously. Confessions about corporate deals, betrayals, mistakes. The truth laid bare. Samuel's eyes glittered in the stormlight, nodding when Alex mentioned details only Samuel would know. Minutes passed like hours. Each confession brought Alex closer to the edge of panic, but also closer to hope. Then, at the final moment, Alex pivoted. Using a signal they had once jokingly devised as teenagers, a code word hidden in the confession, he alerted Marcus, who was waiting discreetly on the far side of the bridge with local authorities and backup. Samuel's attention flickered for a split second. Enough. Alex leapt, lunging toward the van, grabbing Lila and pulling her behind him as Marcus and the officers swarmed. Samuel fired, a shot that rang through the rain, but missed. Chaos erupted. Officers tackled Samuel to the ground, guns raised, shouting commands. Samuel struggled, his face a mask of rage and disbelief. Alex held Lila close, trembling, soaked, but alive. "Dad, Lila whispered, tears streaming down her face. Alex hugged her tight. "Shh, it's over. You're safe now." The rain continued to pour, washing away blood, sweat, and fear. On the bridge, two men, once best friends, now enemies, faced the consequences of a decade of choices. Samuel's betrayal had nearly destroyed everything, but courage, ingenuity, and love had prevailed. Alex looked at Samuel, lying subdued but alive. Pain, anger, regret, all reflected in those eyes. And in that moment, Alex realized something. The past cannot be erased, but it can be confronted. The bridges we burn may never be rebuilt, but new paths can always be found. The storm had passed, leaving a damp, misty calm over the bridge. Alex stood with Lila wrapped in his arms, both shivering from rain and adrenaline. Police had taken Samuel away, his fury silent now behind the bars of the waiting squad cars. But the danger had not fully passed. The world would soon know the story, and Alex's life, along with Samuel's, would be forever changed. The live stream that Alex had set up during the standoff had gone viral. Millions watched as the truth unfolded. Samuel's grievances, Alex's confessions, and the tense negotiation that had saved Lila. People around the world were captivated, horrified, and inspired by Alex's bravery. Comments flooded in, expressing sympathy for Lila and admiration for Alex's courage and cleverness under pressure. Meanwhile, authorities began unraveling the deeper web of Samuel's actions. Hidden in his journals were secrets of corruption, manipulation, and financial misconduct that had allowed him to fester with envy and resentment for years. Alex had anticipated some of this, but seeing the evidence laid bare was staggering. The truth was far darker than he had imagined. Samuel's obsession had become a full-blown vendetta. Alex knew this battle wasn't over. Legal proceedings were inevitable. Samuel's crimes, combined with his psychological instability, meant that the courts would have to weigh both justice and mercy. Alex, who had once avoided confrontation, now found himself at the center of a storm, bigger than anything he had faced before. Yet even as the world watched, Alex's attention was on Lila. She was fragile, exhausted, but alive. Her eyes were wide, still processing the horror and relief that had unfolded. Alex promised her they would never be vulnerable like that again. He would protect her, and he would make sure Samuel paid, not just through law enforcement, but by dismantling the web of control he had built over innocent lives. The media frenzy intensified over the next few days. Interviews, news segments, and social media discussions dissected every move Alex had made. Analysts debated his strategy, some labeling it reckless, others praising the courage and quick thinking that saved a life. Public opinion largely sided with Alex, admiring his bravery and ingenuity. But it was the personal impact that mattered most. Former allies of Samuel came forward, sharing their own experiences of manipulation and deceit. They confirmed that his vendetta against Alex had been years in the making, fueled by jealousy and a toxic need for validation. Slowly, the narrative shifted. Samuel was no longer just a wronged friend in the public eye. He was the architect of his own downfall. Despite the chaos, Alex refused to let anger dictate his actions. He focused on rebuilding life, slowly but deliberately. Lila needed normalcy, and Alex needed redemption, not just for surviving, but for surviving with integrity. He began carefully documenting Samuel's misdeeds, ensuring that justice would be thorough and unassailable. One evening, as the city lights shimmered off rain-slicked streets, Alex stood by the window in his apartment, Lila beside him. She rested her head on his shoulder, exhausted but safe. Alex reflected on how fragile life could be, and how every decision, small or monumental, could cascade into unforeseen consequences. Then came the final twist. Samuel, though behind bars, sent a letter. Handwritten, raw with emotion, it didn't threaten anymore. Instead, it admitted a truth Alex had suspected but never fully realized. Samuel's hatred had been less about Alex and more about himself. The envy, the rage, the obsession, all a reflection of his own failures and insecurities. Alex read the letter carefully, feeling a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Samuel was broken, trapped in his own mind as much as in prison. And while Alex could never forgive the harm done, he understood the complexity of human nature, the capacity for both good and evil within a single heart. With Lila safe, Samuel contained, and the truth fully revealed, Alex finally allowed himself a moment of peace. The ordeal had tested every fiber of his being, yet he had emerged stronger, wiser, and more aware of life's unpredictable nature. He had confronted danger, exposed corruption, and protected the ones he loved, and most importantly, he had learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite it. The weeks following Samuel's arrest felt surreal. The city slowly returned to its rhythm, but for Alex and Lila, life was forever altered. Court dates, interviews, and media scrutiny dominated their days, yet amidst the chaos, a quiet sense of victory settled between them. The danger had passed, but the scars, both visible and invisible, remained. Alex dedicated himself to helping Lila reclaim her sense of normalcy. Together, they navigated therapy sessions, support groups, and long conversations about trust, resilience, and the fragility of human relationships. Each day, Lila grew stronger, her confidence returning piece by piece. Alex admired her determination, realizing that courage could manifest in many ways, not just through confrontation, but through survival, healing, and forgiveness. Meanwhile, the investigation into Samuel's actions continued. Hidden networks of corruption, manipulation, and deceit were being exposed, revealing the full scope of his vendetta. Alex's meticulous documentation became critical evidence in court. What had started as a personal battle had now escalated into a public reckoning. Samuel's carefully constructed facade crumbled under the weight of undeniable facts, but the most shocking revelation came from an unexpected source. One evening, as Alex reviewed documents in his office, he received an anonymous email. The message contained a single line: "Samuel wasn't acting alone. There's someone else, someone closer than you realize." Attached were photos, emails, and encrypted files pointing to someone within Samuel's circle who had secretly fueled the vendetta, manipulating events behind the scenes. Alex's mind raced. Who could have orchestrated this? A colleague? A family member? Someone he had trusted? The implications were staggering. He realized the danger was not fully gone. The web of betrayal was larger and more sinister than he had imagined. Determined to uncover the truth, Alex enlisted the help of a trusted investigator, a former intelligence officer named Claire. Together, they painstakingly traced the digital footprints, financial transactions, and hidden communications that connected Samuel to a mysterious benefactor. Each discovery revealed layers of deceit, showing how carefully Samuel's obsession had been engineered. Then the final piece fell into place. The mastermind behind the chaos was none other than Vincent, Adrian's father, a man Alex had initially dismissed as a passive observer. Vincent's envy, obsession with control, and deep-seated need to dominate his son's life had fueled Samuel's actions from the very beginning. Every humiliation, every scheme, every calculated move had been part of his plan to assert power and crush anyone he deemed unworthy. With this revelation, Alex and Lila realized the magnitude of their triumph. They had not only survived Samuel's wrath, but had exposed the dark undercurrents of a man who had operated unchecked for decades. The truth shattered illusions, but it also empowered them. Justice was not only served, it was undeniable, complete, and irreversible. In the courtroom, Vincent faced the consequences of his manipulation. Samuel, now fully understood as a pawn in a larger game, received treatment and rehabilitation for his psychological issues. The legal system, armed with Alex's evidence and Claire's investigation, ensured that both men could never harm anyone else. Finally, life began to feel normal again. Alex and Lila returned to their shared apartment, slowly building routines filled with laughter, trust, and genuine connection. They traveled, worked, and dreamed together, no longer overshadowed by fear or deception. Every moment felt precious, a reminder of the fragility and beauty of life. One evening, as the sun set over the city skyline, Alex and Lila sat on their balcony, holding hands and reflecting on the journey. "We survived," Lila whispered, her voice full of gratitude and strength. And we came out stronger. Alex smiled, the weight of the past months lifting slightly from his shoulders. Yes, he replied, and nothing will ever take away what we've learned about courage, about love, and about the resilience of the human spirit. As the city lights flickered to life below them, Alex realized that the ordeal had changed them both, forging a bond stronger than any challenge. They had faced betrayal, danger, and deception, and had emerged not just alive, but empowered, aware that together they could endure anything. And in that quiet moment, Alex understood the ultimate truth. The most profound victories were not those over enemies, but over fear itself.